discrepancy between the two. Like, I feel like Josh probably gets some sort of payout, but it certainly is not worth the amount of exposure that he has given to Mr. Based. I hate calling him Mr. Based. Can I call him anything else? Can I just call him Pyro's purple hat? I don't know. It's like, it's really annoying. And like, I don't know. Josh is also getting prepared to get on his flight to go to Puerto Rico. And he basically has like a small, really small carry-on suitcase thing and like a strap pack type of thing. It's like, I think we're going to be seeing him wearing the same like 3 pairs of clothing the entire trip down there. And you also could kind of see the bloody mark on the back of his neck there. Like, is some sort of disease is incurring and is just taking over World of T-shirts. He's being morphed into a barnacle on the side of the ship. It's a bad look for you, bro. It's a bad look for everybody here. And like, I don't even necessarily think that Josh enjoys hanging out with Mr. Based. I feel like it's just kind of a happenstance. That's just what he does in his routine. And I just wish there was somebody more influential, better for him, that could take care of him. I know I saw that Pyro said that he was going to go to New York soon, so maybe he'll meet with Josh, but I really don't think there's a way that you can get through to Josh. I think it's just he's doing what he's doing, and I don't think there's a redemption tour for this ship. I think it's going straight to the bottom of the ocean, and it's kind of sad to see.
This one's changing the go back. Maybe it's good for us.
Could you get me a cool tank top from Puerto Rico if you remember?
Okay.
Thanks. You know, no arms tank top. Thank you.
$5, yeah, it's me. What are you going to do about it, mister?
Stop it! Just stop it. Stop it! Shut the hell up. What are you doing, Josh? Josh, what are you doing? Josh, no, don't do. No, Josh, no.
We're here.
No.
That's some epic acting right there, boys and girls. And Josh basically sat there in silence the entire time. They played some of his songs there, and the driver, I guess, just had to put up with it. And Mr. Bass was trying to coerce him. You know, I'm sure he's pulled this tactic on plenty of young college-age girls in the past where, you know, I'll just give you some cash. You don't have to follow the app. I'll just give you some cash to drive me back home. Don't worry about it. You don't have to re-up me. Just, I'll give you cash. Wink, wink, done judge. You picking up what I'm throwing down? So Josh gets on his flight, and that's where the TikTok montage in the beginning starts. Who knows where this is going to lead, honestly. I guess we'll see Josh in the Caribbean for a couple weeks because allegedly he's going to Punta Cana as well. And we'll just have to see how it shakes out. Either way, guys, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Boogie2988 used to be regarded as one of the most beloved content creators on YouTube. Well, the turntables have turned because he is now one of the most hated figures online. And with the year being 2024, that means quite a bit. Boogie's downfall has been occurring over the last couple of years, very slowly, but with the recent revelation that Boogie has been faking cancer and lying about a great many other things, he is now beyond the point of no return, with no other option but to lean into the bad publicity. To truly understand Boogie's reasons for the things that he has done, we have to look deep into his past, all the way back to his childhood. You see, Boogie was born in the mid-70s to a coal mining family, living with his 2 siblings and parents. Boogie would describe his childhood as full of neglect, poverty, and some other very disturbing things which we will cover later in this video. Fast forward to 2006 and Boogie had already dropped out of college. He was looking for a purpose in life and something to do with his time, settling on making a YouTube channel. I want you to keep in mind that YouTube had only been around for a year at this point, so to say that Boogie was in at the ground level would be an understatement. Because YouTube was not yet paying content creators, Boogie was a web designer as his job to support himself. It would also be around this time that he would develop his love for Magic the Gathering, a trading card game which he still plays to this day. Both his parents were now gone, and he was struggling to find direction and purpose. Eventually, he would find it with the success of his YouTube channel. The success would be due to a character that Boogie would play named Francis. Francis was your stereotypical angry, overweight nerd. Anytime you beat him in a card game, well, he's gonna flip the table. Anytime you eat his food, you'd better look out.
There's some Faygo in the fridge, man.
I don't want to eat Faygo! You cure the Faygo! Do you look like I'm thirsty for Faygo? Are you thirsty for Faygo?
Yeah.
You thirsty? It's delicious! It's delicious! I don't want Faygo! I want a Mountain Dew! Oh my God, yeah, Mountain Dew! I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find my goddamn Mountain Dew. Yeah, did you drink my Mountain Dew? Did you drink my Mountain Dew? Let me smell your breath. Let me smell your breath. Oh, you Mountain Dew drinking bitch? Drinking all the Mountain Dew?
It was everything that Boogie had viewed as toxic about nerd culture. Well, being as this was early YouTube, no one knew that this was a character and assumed that Francis was a completely real person and running the channel. This contributed massively to Boogie's success in his early YouTube career, with many of his Francis videos doing millions of views, receiving shoutouts from creators like Ray William Johnson, who were some of the biggest on the platform around that time, and he was quickly becoming a beloved figure around the internet for his sincere and honest talks with his audience. It seemed like Boogie and his Francis persona could not be stopped. But the man behind the characters, his real name being Stephen Williams, was also on the come up. He would meet a fan of his by the name of Dez, hitting it off with her and eventually getting married. Boogie's career would peak in 2016 when he would win Trending Gamer of the Year at the Game Awards.
And the Trending Gamer, the Game Award goes to Boogie 2988. Boogie and I go back many years of jousting and having a great time with each other. There is nobody in this country, in this world, that is more deserving of this trophy, that has done so much to bring games into life. I'm going to give you the microphone in a second.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen you in front of a microphone. Congratulations. You have millions of fans around the world. Say a few words.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Jeff, for this show, and thank you, everybody, man, that at home and voted for me. Thanks for my wife, who's changed my life and given me something to fight for, and I got to be saying, I got to say, I've been playing video games since a lot of you were, before you were born. And if you look at me, like, physically, there's not a lot I can do in this world. But the game creators like yours have created worlds that I can explore, worlds that I can accomplish, worlds that I can be a hero in. And I think it's so important for nights like tonight to celebrate the people who create those games that have given us a distraction from the world we live in today, that have given me a distraction at the darkest points of my life. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I mean, the people that make these games, at the end of the day, you're the hero, right? Like, thank you for everything you guys do, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for letting me be part of it. Thank you.
Personally, I think that this was the peak of Boogie's career. He was beloved, recognized, and still watched very heavily by loyal fans. People likened Boogie to the Mr. Rogers of the internet for his upbeat and friendly attitude. I remember a video he posted back in the day where he talked about his finances, saying that he would be set for the rest of his life because YouTube had paid him so much. All of the comments underneath were supportive, some even saying that if it were anyone but this guy, the video would come off as a little bit rude. This was how much people loved Boogie, and the problems would arise when these people realized that Boogie was a character just like Francis. One of the first pieces of controversy Boogie would find himself in would be over his quote-unquote fence-setting takes. Many content creators have gotten flack in the past for not picking a side on certain issues, either remaining vague or trying to see all sides of the situation. And some people would begin to call him out for not really believing in the things that he would say. Keep in mind, the time was 2017 and Boogie was still beloved across the internet, seen as a kind person who would often discuss his tough upbringing. Another thing that Boogie would regularly discuss on the channel would be his plans for weight loss. He had talked for a very long time about getting a gastric bypass surgery because he believed that he could not lose the weight without it. In August of 2017, Boogie would end up receiving this surgery, having a portion of his stomach surgically removed. Even this was not enough to stop his bad eating habits, still eating horribly to this day.
But mark my words, I'm doing the work, I'm following my diet, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, and when they give me the okay, I'm getting back in the swimming pool, and I'm going to exercise as much as my body will humanly let me. I'm going for the gold. And then that leads me to the question that I hear that hurts me the most, is whether or not I will fail at this. And so many people are so sure that I will fail, whether or not my old eating habits, my old addictions, my old mental issues will kick back in, forcing me to not lose the weight or to regain the weight. And that's a complicated question because I can't see the future. I can tell you we waited to the last possible minute to get this surgery. And the reason we did is because I wanted to do as much work on my emotional state and my mental state as humanly possible and spend years practicing getting better at controlling what I eat and controlling myself and controlling these issues.
Didn't you just say you don't enjoy the chicken quesadilla?
I'm kind of enjoying one thing about it right now. It's super tough. Do you want to know what the one thing I'm enjoying about it is?
Yeah.
That it's so bad for me. Like, this is what a 400-pound guy does. We eat shitty food. Right? I try not to show you that. I try not to put it on my videos. I try not to post it on my vlogs. But sometimes we eat shitty food. That's how we're 400 pounds.
Accusations of Boogie guilt-tripping his audience would be thrown around, with people realizing just how much he brought up his terrible childhood as an excuse. In response, Boogie would begin to cover his mental health a lot more on the channel, only increasing the accusations of pity farming.
My own career, my own livelihood, my own self-esteem, my own mental health. But Dad is fine. I'm used to being miserable, right? I've been miserable for 45 years. I don't suspect it's going to change anytime soon. I like living regardless of being in pain, regardless of being crazy. But how do I prevent this from hurting other people? If you can help me find a way other than taking my own life, then I would like to do that instead. I don't necessarily want to die yet. I just don't want to hurt people. And I feel like every single day since I was seeing 500 loss of subscribers, 1,000 loss of subscribers, that meant every day that I chose to get out of bed, every day that I chose to wake up, every day that I continued to live was another day that 1,000 people more got hurt. And that was really painful.
The mask was really beginning to slip for Steven. His flawless image around YouTube was now smudged, and with the hype over fake freakout videos fading, so would Boogie's relevance. The decline in viewership and profit put Boogie in a tremendous amount of stress. He was used to everyone across the internet loving him unconditionally. Having that, as well as a steady pace of increasing views, taken away, had to have impacted him. And I think this was one of the many, many things that contributed to Boogie's divorce. Around the end of 2017, Boogie's wife would reveal to him that she no longer wanted to be in a marriage.
My wife was the best relationship of my life. It was some of the best 7 years ever, and we did some amazing things. We traveled the country. We met so many of you guys. We met some of our favorite creators and some of our favorite entertainers, and we loved each other madly. We were madly, madly in love. But beyond the anxiety disorder, she was still dealing with my morbid obesity. She was still dealing with my chronic pain issues, and that stuff is hard enough for me to deal with, you know, but I have no choice. I'm stuck in this brain. I'm stuck in this body. She had a choice. and she made it, and I think she made the right decision. Back towards the middle of October, she told me that she was thinking about separating now that I was out of the surgery and now that I was nice and healthy. We talked about it and decided that she should take a break in November, which she did. She was gone for about 3 weeks, and about 2 weeks into that, she called up and said that she had made her decision, that she wanted things to be a more permanent change, and that we should start moving in that direction. And obviously that hurts, because I wanted us to work. I wanted to make it work, but I couldn't argue with the fact that we just weren't working.
Despite Boogie's attempts to fix the situation, the divorce would be finalized, and Boogie would lose what I believe is one of the last constraints he had on his absolutely unhinged personality. His wife, Des, was one of the only things keeping him grounded still. Without her, the next couple of years would be some of the most destructive in Boogie's life. The cracks would begin to show well before his wife had even moved out of the house. Boogie publicly stated that the divorce was amicable and that they would be continuing forward as good friends. This was all in an attempt to maintain his family-friendly image, because certain conversations between them would lead me to believe this divorce was less than amicable.
We're divorced now, so I don't have to worry about it. But we're in a loop in which my anxiety was so bad that she was kind of walking on eggshells all the time, because she was afraid of scaring me, upsetting me, hurting me. And that the way she reacted to my anxiety was very frequently with fight or flight. And for her, that mostly meant fight. So I would become anxious over something. And when I become anxious, I'd become a little angry. I'd become a little edgy.
Capable of doing those things. It's just not a thing I can really do. But whatever. That's fine. Whatever. Was me and my wife's relationship perfect? No. Did we argue from time to time? Yes. I think most couples do. Did I ever stand and scream in her face about, tell her I wish she was fucking dead, or, I don't know.
The sheer depth of Boogie's problems would not be known by the wider public until he appeared on the H3 podcast. He would say a number of controversial things on the podcast that would get him into some controversy, but he would also reveal what he had been up to ever since he and his wife's divorce. Boogie revealed that he had grown quite fond of ladies of the night, and that paying these women for dates was something that he enjoyed very much. At the time, I really thought this was just Boogie trying to flex after his divorce, thinking that this seemed cool. Years later, I would find out that this was all completely true, and Boogie had spent hundreds of thousands on these women. Boogie was growing increasingly unstable. It was no longer in his private life, it was also appearing on camera. The fun and lovable persona that he once had would slip, each time revealing just a little bit more of his true character.
Right, are your parents still alive by chance?
Yeah, they are.
And are your parents still together?
No.
Okay, all right. So maybe I should take a point then.
What?
Well, if your parents aren't together, then you probably come from a broken home. You're probably going to get real angry when you start losing. So.
I won last game, but I'm not going to go on.
All right. Well, maybe you just learn to have a channel that hands. All right. I wish you luck, man. Good luck. My parents died.
That sucks.
Yeah, I'm pretty much Batman, so.
These were also the days of controversy for Boogie. He was kicked out of his D&D group for offensive comments he had made online. He was scrutinized for accepting a sponsorship from BetterHelp. And above all else, he was called out for writing off Magic the Gathering cards as business expenses. I'm not a tax expert, but it's definitely some shaky ground. And then, the first big controversy that Boogie would ever find himself in, the Tesla drama. Boogie would purchase a Tesla that he openly stated as being out of his price range, jokingly asking people to pay for it. People were absolutely outraged by this. Boogie requesting money for a luxury item while many were struggling just to make ends meet. Not particularly a good look for the Mr. Rogers of YouTube.
I never bought a Tesla. I put a down payment for a Tesla,
I got home, realized I can't afford a $100,000 car payment. No one can afford a $100,000 car. That's a stupid decision. Decided to not get the car. Also, my fans wouldn't pay for it. Nobody would give me $100,000 ruse. So, since none of you guys would cough up $100,000, why are you people so stingy that one of you won't just cut me a check for $100,000?
Boogie would continue to make controversial statements and diminish his reputation. With his channel declining, people were losing interest every day. And it seemed like that would be Boogie's fate, just to slowly fade into obscurity. That is, until there would be a situation that would reignite talks about Boogie, and not in a positive light. Notorious internet troll Frank Hassel locked his sights on Boogie sometime in 2020. Frank had recently been banned from YouTube and blamed Boogie for said ban. After some back and forth online, Frank decided that he would travel to Boogie's home. Frank would actually make good on his word and showed up at Boogie's front door, which prompted Boogie to step outside, brandish a weapon, and fire it once into the air. Frank would leave shortly after, and Boogie would be issued a warrant for aggravated assault. Boogie would turn himself in, with the case eventually being settled with no time served. It may have been a very dark time in Boogie's life, but there was a silver lining. In 2019, Boogie invested heavily into cryptocurrency. He invested right before a big boom and made a substantial amount of money from it, enough for him to make a YouTube video subtly flexing just how much he had made.
I do not recommend anyone else ever do, but it worked. I basically took every dime I had in liquid funds and invested it in a huge gamble. And I did this at the advice of my friend Jesse Ridgway McJuggernuggets, who guaranteed that money, saying that if the money disappeared, he would help take care of me and help me rebuild. Well, fortunately, the money didn't disappear. And my thought process at the time was, look, even if it does disappear, I can always just go ahead through with my stupid plans. And if I end up making a lot of money, then I can stick around to spend that money or leave it to somebody so that it could do some good, give some of it away, do cool stuff with it. First off, let me say that I'm not a financial advisor. I do not recommend that you do what I did. It was a very stupid, risky maneuver. But I invested pretty much everything I had into cryptocurrency. And I pulled it out a couple of times and I put it back in a couple of times. So I probably didn't do as well as I could have.
I'm not a very religious man, but I think a Bible quote fits in perfect here. It's from Proverbs 16:18. Pride goeth before destruction. It's not an Aussie song, it's a reality of Boogie's life. Boogie claimed that with what he had invested into cryptocurrency, he could comfortably live till the end of his days, that no one had to worry about him, and he was basically rich. Well, as I'm sure many of you saw coming, Boogie, of course, did not pull out of the markets and suffered the consequences, losing way beyond what he had ever made in the first place.
The bad reason is I'm finally in a position where I have to get back to work. And I'm not making any excuses here. You know I spent a tremendous amount of money on dumb things. But the biggest issue is that I had a nice big nest egg. I took some financial advice from a friend, and I'm not pointing fingers necessarily. I took the advice, but I put my money in the crypto market in the wrong section, and I pretty much lost most of everything. That sucks. That really sucks. It is what it is, though. I mean, like, I've come to terms with it, but I need to get back to work. I have some savings, but they're going quickly. And if I don't start live streaming and making content and getting ad revenue and stuff again, I'm going to lose everything.
I believe there aren't really any coincidences in life, that almost everything has a cause and an effect. And we most definitely just witnessed it. Because right after Boogie lost all of his money in crypto, he would begin to claim that he had polycythemia vera, a form of blood cancer. Looking back on it now, we know that this was a lie, but I find the timing of things fascinating. Right after he loses all of his money, bam, that's when he fakes the cancer. But at this point in the timeline, people really thought that Boogie had cancer, stating that it was completely treatable, but he still had cancer.
Well, you remember about 3 weeks back I said that I likely could potentially have a form of cancer? Turns out I got a rare blood cancer called polycythemia vera, which basically makes your body produce too many red blood cells. And when I started taking that testosterone supplement 7 or 8 years ago, however long it's been, we knew that this was a possibility. You never think you're going to be the guy who gets that side effect, though, right? You never think it's going to be you. But sometimes it is. It has to be somebody. But the good news is, I mean, this is a disease that takes a really long time to get you. Statistically speaking, I'll die of a blood clot or a heart attack or a stroke due to one of those blood clots. And most people, after getting diagnosed, live another 20 years. So if you're gonna get a cancer, this is the one to get.
Boogie was still fading into irrelevance. He was losing viewers, losing sponsors, and losing friends in his real life, with the only glimmer of hope these days being his scheduled fight with Wings of Redemption. Fellow lolcow Daniel Keem would set up a boxing match between Boogie and Wings, selling it as the heaviest boxing match of all time. Both contestants were given months to train and would eventually meet in London for the brawl. While it was clear that Wings had actually spent some of his time with a boxing coach, it appeared that Boogie had pocketed his training expenses.
Just patiently waiting. Oh my gosh! Boogie is in trouble.
They're going for it. Don't turn around.
Boogie's got to not turn around with the rest.
Boogie's got to get one in. And there we go.
We made it to the second.
He lasted around, right? Yep. That's got to be a victory in itself right there. Standing 8, there we go. That's the right call there.
Absolutely.
5, 6, 7, 8. There it is. That was the right call from the ref.
Two big things had happened that vaulted Boogie back into relevancy. The first was the fight, which we just saw him get absolutely destroyed in. But the second would be a YouTube documentary released by a channel called Mike Klum. The channel had no previous uploads and nobody knew what to expect. The video was a very professionally done documentary over Boogie's day-to-day life, showing us just how bad things had gotten. The documentary would include him selling his magic cards, searching for a job, and showing off his generally depressed behavior. This documentary would also reveal to me another significant player in this story. It would be Boogie's new girlfriend, another one named Dez. Dez is nearly half the age of Boogie and seems to come from a rough home. For those who have seen the documentary, they are in a couple of scenes together that make me and everyone else very uncomfortable. Boogie has received a lot of controversy for this, but seemingly doesn't care since all of his other buddies are dating chicks half their age too. I'm looking at you, Danny. Speaking of Boogie's new friends, the podcast was in full swing, with Boogie, Wings, Keemstar, and Tommy C interviewing various lolcows, discussing lolcow news. This would be the status quo until around the end of June this year, when everything in Boogie's life would flip on its head. Boogie would take part in a crypto scam currency called Fatty Coin. Boogie made numerous videos over Fatty Coin, prompting his audience to invest in it while putting on this Andrew Tate-like persona. Some people actually bought this coin, and it lost nearly 90% of its value in the first day. Boogie claimed that none of his fans bought the coin, but it appears that some of them did. He was rightly called out for this scam and promptly deleted all posts about Fatty Coin on his Twitter. And I think this is where Boogie thought that things would end, but the amount of eyes on him would only increase. The Fatty Coin scandal brought into question every aspect of Boogie's life. He had lied so much that people were even beginning to question if he had cancer at all. And during an episode of lolcow Live, Boogie would be confronted on this. In a lineup I personally thought I would never see, XQC, Some Ordinary Gamer, and Mr. Medicare all show up to berate Boogie for lying about his cancer. Numerous inconsistencies in his story had been told, and Boogie refused to show any paperwork. Here is Mr. Medicare, a streamer who actually is suffering from cancer, berating Boogie for his lies.
And this is why this particularly pisses me off, Boogie. So let me try to explain this before we get into it, because you might be wondering, why do I sound somewhat angry about this? Because I'm dying, you fuck. Because I actually have cancer and I'm dying from it. Painfully, you fat piece of shit. And throughout all of that, I haven't screwed my audience. I didn't do a crypto scam, Boogie. I did streams. I collected super chats. I sold hats, Boogie. That's what I did. Oh, is medicine expensive? Is cancer tough? Shit, God, who would know? Oh, well, I would. You think I'm out here streaming because it's fun for me, asshole? I'm in pain every day, Boogie. I'm dying. I stream to make money so my wife has shit for when she puts me in the dirt. So when I see your fat ass crying about you can't afford shit and it's because of cancer, back off. And it's acceptable that you do shit like this because you're sick. It's a load of shit to me, buddy. Once you decided you don't want to share. Once you decided you don't want to share, that's when
once these motherfuckers went with the narrative that I'm lying about cancer, there was no coming back.
How is it a narrative if they have a doubt about it?
Because it's not reality. Because it's not reality.
Show them reality.
You know.
For a while, Boogie would adamantly claim that he did have polycythemia vera. He didn't care if anyone believed him and refused to show paperwork. I really thought that this would be the hill that Boogie would die on, that he would continue to claim he had cancer without providing any proof, and using it as an excuse to get away with his shitty behavior like he had been doing for years. But to my shock, and I believe a great many others, he kind of admitted it.
In the video, told by my doctor that I have polycythemia vera. And we're treating you for polycythemia vera.
He might have uttered those words, maybe. He might, I know, I'm sure he said polycythemia, maybe. He might have used the polycythemia vera. He never told you that you had cancer, though.
That's true. I had to Google that.
In the aftermath of this, hate for Boogie would reach an all-time high. People were calling for his YouTube channel to be taken down. They wanted him to pay money towards charity for cancer. People just wanted to see Boogie face some kind of consequence for faking cancer all these years. He didn't have polycythemia vera. He had polycythemia, which is commonly associated with having a weight problem. It is not cancer like the vera, with Boogie claiming that if it wasn't treated, it would turn into polycythemia vera. That basically means that Boogie thought that because he could get cancer, that he can go around the internet acting like he's had it. Even when Boogie was claiming he had cancer, he wasn't seeking any kind of treatment, not doing anything to get his health in order. It was all just a massive excuse for terrible behavior. I'm being completely serious when I tell you Boogie could get legitimate, actual stage 4 cancer, and no one would care. There would be a large majority of people that would say that's karma, because this is just absolutely disgusting. If you would have told me 10 years ago that Boogie2988 would fake cancer for pity and cash, I would have called you crazy. The downfall has been one of a kind, and believe it or not, it still wasn't over. Being as Boogie had just faked cancer, people were questioning everything in his life. One of the major things people were questioning was Boogie's accusations of SA against his parents. Boogie alleged some pretty terrible things against his parents, and has in the past used that as an excuse for shitty behavior as well. Well, after he faked cancer, people thought that this could very well be faked too. And during the next episode of his podcast, he was confronted on this, where he had his biggest meltdown of all time.
I know you can't talk about your sister. You said you would talk about your dad and mother all day. So will you address those issues? Because
yes, my mother twitted my tampons. That's part of the abuse. And she twisted my balls.
Okay, but then, okay, well, let's not talk about any of it.
No, my dad in front of me and showed me and asked me if I wanted to join in and encouraged me to. But I did. I did. I did. I did. I
Okay,
did.
no.
There. Can we be done? Can we be done with it?
We're
Can
done.
we be done with it?
We're done. We're done. We're done with it.
Thank
We're done with
you.
that conversation. I don't.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're done with that
Thank you.
conversation.
I find it very hard to believe that this is real because almost everything else in Boogie's life isn't. For Christ's sakes, he got big off the internet by playing a character who raged, and he just got caught lying about cancer. You can't blame me for thinking maybe he's overreacting here, or that maybe him and Keemstar had agreed towards something like this panning out. What muddies the water even more is the many lies that Daniel Keem has told on the podcast. Keemstar claims that the freakout was real, but Keemstar also claimed that he would no longer be appearing on the show. Keemstar also claimed that he would be firing Boogie in response to faking cancer. None of that happened. Instead, Danny decided to concoct some punishment for Boogie to endure, aka milk more views out of the situation, eventually settling on Boogie getting a face tattoo that read liar, and true to his word, Boogie would go to an artist to get this tattoo.
But it started. Ladies and gentlemen, the tattoo artist has started working on the R in the word.
Can we talk in a regular
liar.
voice?
Very good, Boogie. You're doing very good.
It's for you, baby.
Come on, Keemstar, call me your little man.
Come on, little boy. You're doing good, little man. You got this.
You like that, little man?
You got this, champ. Aw, you're such a good boy. Remember last time when you cried for the needle? This time you're taking it so good.
I love you, Daddy.
Is it? Yep, it's done. Oh my god.
Except Boogie isn't true to his word. That tattoo is fake, just like everything else about Boogie, just like everything else about LolCow Live. In recent episodes, you can see that the tattoo has almost completely smudged off. I gotta say, I was pretty shocked that Boogie was taking it so well when he was getting tattooed. So I guess the fact that it was fake explains everything. The sheer amount of lies attached to Boogie 2988 is staggering. It brings into question anything he has ever said. He has fallen so far that nothing is off the table. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't see how it could get any worse. Boogie has been thoroughly exposed for the awful person he is. His reputation will never be repaired, and he will fade into obscurity once again. I think that we have seen both the peak and the valley of his career. The peak of him winning a Gamer Award, and the valley of him faking cancer. I don't know where Boogie 2988's story goes from here, but what I do know is that his life will never be the same.
This is genuinely really good quality of life policies, okay? That kind of shit works, bro. That's the type of stuff that actually plays really well. Anyway, let's get to the DNC boys, girls, MBs, 2024 DNC, Obama, Biden, Clintons. Why? Why is the Democratic Party doing this? Why? Bro, bring Jesse Ventura up there. Bring Megan Thee Stallion up there to twerk. What the The Republicans cannot have a more fun convention than the Democrats. The Democrats literally own Hollywood, bro. What the You got Clinton. You got the Clintons, not just Hillary, but Bill too. It's like we want both of Jeffrey Epstein's friends on there. Not just one, but both of them. God damn it, dude.
Stay the race. NBC senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson's here. Hallie, good morning. So they finished off the Battleground Tour, the first rollout of Harris Walls. Give us the state of the race on the Democratic side, then we'll talk about former President Trump's campaign.
Sure. On the Democratic side, Savannah, the Harris Walls team is feeling like they have some wind at their back, some momentum here moving forward for a couple of reasons here. It's that new battleground polling that we talked about here, showing that she is inching ahead within the margin of error in some of these key swing states. And when you look at independents, those numbers are interesting too. There's some good news in there for Democrats showing that Vice President.
Bro, swing state polls are cooking right now, dude. Oh my God, loyal blue vanguard up in this bitch. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Wisconsin, 50% Harris, 46 Trump. Michigan, 50% Harris, 46% Trump. Pennsylvania, 50% Harris, 46% Trump. I got more polls, okay? We got more swing state polls. The only thing that shows Trump not underwater is Trafalgar and Rasmussen, bro. They are so goddamn cooked. You might as well just make the numbers up at that point, okay? It's so bad. Trafalgar and Rasmussen are obviously like incredibly cucked right-wing bias polls. They are consistently wrong. No, not Trafalgar Law, you nerds. Shut up. Even the Trafalgar poll was terrible for Trump. I mean, Trafalgar is also like right boosted. But yeah, Wisconsin showing Harris up 9 points on the Bullfish Group independent swing states poll. 9 points. Michigan showing Harris up +5, 48 to 43. Obviously, that is not great, in my opinion, for Harris. That should be, I mean, that's outside of the margin of error, but like it should be higher than that for Michigan. But I do think that maybe Gaza is playing a role in that, and it might get worse for her in Michigan. Things might change. Overall, Pennsylvania, 49% for Harris, +4, Trump at 45. So this, once again, shows momentum swinging in the direction of the Harris Walz ticket, okay? You also have approval ratings. Coming out of all the states that Walz and Harris have actually attended. And Tim Walz is cooking, okay? Tim Walz is cooking, all right? Here's how the dynamic has shifted so dramatically. I mean, not dramatically, but national polling average started off not so great. July, boom, 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 boom. Made a major flip on around August 4th. And it is now seemingly going to start trailing, okay? It will inevitably reach a plateau unless they keep up the momentum. But you also have the with Kennedy numbers, which is phenomenal. There it is. Kennedy taking more of the Trump support than the Harris support as well. Okay. Yo, there was a non-zero population that would let Trump babysit their child. Yes. This is the sign of an unbiased pollster, by the way. Kamala Harris has opened up a 6% lead over Trump. LOL from Rasmussen. I mean, yeah. It's a shame Walz is too old to ever run for presidency after Kamala. I mean, who knows? But anyway, whatever. These polls, we all know it's fake. Yeah, yesterday I spent a lot of... Wait, what? At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And some of you like to steal that glory from me. Some of you like to steal the one time of the day, once every hour, where I like to have fun and dupe you and just take that away from me shamelessly and selfishly, and then serve the 3-minute ad break in my stead. I recognize when I have been bested. This is a moment where I have been bested. AI must be stopped. I think that it's time. We've officially gotten too far. This is obviously AI footage. I was not at the Kamala Harris Michigan rally with a top of the hour ad break poster. Anyway, that's a good one. I'll give it to you. Lilith of the South, thank you for the 5 tier 1 gifted subs. Aiden Kami, thank you for the 5 gifted. Sakura Gore, thank you for the 10 gifted. Data Pixel, thank you for the 5 gifted. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. New Trump vid/tweet. Bro, he is posting, dude. He's back. He's back, but unfortunately not as good as he used to be. Waltz is going to address a union. Waltz will address union members in first solo campaign stop. Oh my God, my goat. He's going solo dolo. My king. It really is 2016. Yeah, the problem is role reversal occurred. What's your take on the Armenian genocide? I wonder where this guy's coming from. I wonder why he's asking me this. Here, there's a command for it in the chat. Okay. ! Armenian genocide. Bibi's office just called Gallant anti-Israel after Gallant said total victory is bollocks. Bro, the drama in the Knesset right now is crazy. Yeah. Do you think a Tom Bradley scenario can happen? What? I only think of this when I realize that Kamala is black and a woman. What? This is my favorite Trafalgar poll ever. Murray won this race by over 15 points. This is who they are relying on for copium at the moment, if chatters don't know who these people are. Yeah, Trafalgar in 2020 was so off base, dude. This is part of the reason why Real Clear Politics, I say, like, there's poll aggregators out there. You got 538, you got Real Clear Politics, you got a bunch of them, right? RCP, unfortunately for people who love RCP, I think weighs Trafalgar and Rasmussen differently than some of these other pollsters, other poll aggregators. So that's the reason why they're almost always incredibly right-wing boosted. This was the Trafalgar Washington Senate poll showing incumbent Murray still holding a small lead, but the challenger Smiley gaining. Okay, 48.7% for the Murray campaign, 46.5% for Smiley, Tiffany Smiley. Murray ended up winning this race by 15 points. So overall, you know, you got to take a lot of what they put out there with a grain of salt. Also, this is an insane thing that I've seen as well. Do you lean closer towards the Republican or Democratic position on abortion? Plus 19 for the Democrats. Environment, plus 17 for the Democrats. These are obvious gimmies, right? That number should even be higher. Who the is like, I don't know, maybe the Republicans have it right on abortion. Healthcare, plus 16 for the Democrats. Election integrity, plus 13 for the Democrats. Economy, plus 8 for the Democrats. Inflation, plus 4 for the Democrats. I do not know what is happening. I do not understand what is happening. I don't even get why people have completely removed Kamala Harris from the equation. This is not the only poll I've seen, by the way, that shows that the Democrats are leading on the economy. Okay. I think it's because they are leaning into populist, progressive policy positions. Okay. Immigration R2 also seems kind of surreal. I don't know how valid this poll is. I really don't know, but I have seen a bunch of other polls where Democrats are like either close or leading on the issue of the economy, which is crazy. It seems that Americans are single issue voters and the issue is the candidate being alive. I mean, that was a major role. Yes, that played a major role. But I told you, time and time again, it's not like the Democratic Party's platform is unpopular. Okay? They can make this unpopular. They can if they run away from popular prescriptions to problems that people foresee in their day-to-day lives. But as I told you, the platform is good, is solid. Lean into it. Stop running away and be like, I'm not a radical. No, you don't understand. I want to do like the most complicated tax equation in an effort to make sure that you can get like maybe tax credits. This is also the type of shit that actually is phenomenally popular. I've also talked about this stuff too. The White House has proposed a new law requiring that subscription services like gym memberships can be canceled with a single click. This is genuinely really good quality of life policies, okay? That kind of shit works, bro. If the Dems ran on like eliminating spam mail, like if they just added that in, if they added that into their platform, like that's the type of stuff that actually plays really well, okay? Like this is the type of shit, I'm gonna be honest with you, the FCC pushing the click to cancel rule for phone, internet, and cable companies, that, I'm not even joking, that is like +1 in a key state, okay? You end up improving your chances so dramatically. You know what I mean? That's one extra point in a place like Michigan. That's a gimme. One of the major issues here, of course, is how they communicate it, okay? How they communicate this progressive platform. If they run away from this shit, if they don't actually publicize this kind of stuff, I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna mean anything. It will be meaningless. This is a bad policy. Yeah, oh, shut up. You're trying to serve a 3-minute ad break or something. That's why you're saying this is a bad policy. We already ran the ad break. Did you see EU is telling Elon Musk to censor Trump? I have not seen that, but honest question, wouldn't some corporate donors be against this? The corporate donors, bro. What are we talking about? You got an election to win, okay? Corporate donors can only take you so far. Corpos, I think that there are a lot of corporations, a lot of corporate donors that are completely vested in Donald Trump, especially Silicon Valley, okay? They're deep in the Trump pocket right now. They think J.D. Vance is a great choice, but obviously they are at odds with like real humans that go out and vote. Now, they can only move the needle so far, right? They can only move the needle so far. All the money in the world is not going to work if you have genuine momentum. Donald Trump proved that in 2016. Hillary Clinton got a shit ton of money. Hillary Clinton had the backing of liberal media, and everybody was constantly ripping into Donald Trump, but he was a significantly more dynamic, more charismatic anti-establishment pick for a lot of people who was able to make it seem like he was a more moderate person than the average Democrat on a lot of issues that were popular with the base. That's how he won. Also because Hillary Clinton sucked at campaigning and thought that she wouldn't need to campaign in key states. But overall, that's what happened in 2016, where Donald Trump kind of had the juice. He had the momentum. He could overcome the massive amount of spending against him. On the other hand, Democrats now have that momentum. Democrats have that momentum, and they should not cast it aside. You want to see real panic from the Republicans? Looks like they're being forced to dump 100 million ad bombs originally planned for late September to stop the Trump bleeding. That's what I'm saying. MAGA Inc., the pro-Trump super PAC, is plowing $100 million into ads that will air before Labor Day. The ads will air in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. The ads is messaging that Kamala Harris is soft on crime radical who's too dangerous for the White House. In a memo obtained by Politico Alex, the super PAC strategists say Americans might vote for a liberal, but they won't vote for a lunatic. And that's hilarious because Kamala Harris is a prosecutor and Trump is a convict. So like, even if they thought that this was going to be an issue that they can move people on, it still doesn't work. It literally didn't work in 2022. They are trying a tactic that failed in 2022. What are you doing? It's even harder to make this narrative stick because crime is literally down, okay? Most Americans say that their cities are safe. It's other cities that they're worried about in terms of crime, and everyone in the media recognizes that crime is down across the board. Homicides are down as well, which was the only thing that was up regardless in the post-COVID bump. Everything else was still going down, and they have no way to make this narrative stick. They couldn't make it stick in 2022, okay? If they couldn't make this stick in 2022, how the are they going to make this stick in 2024 when everybody recognizes that crime is down? Especially when you are a convict running against a prosecutor. They just keep lying about it till it sticks. No, you have to understand, like, this kind of shit is great for Twitter. It's great for the MAGA cultists, but those guys are already voting. Right now, because Donald Trump is completely maxed out on name recognition, you have to somehow magically bring people back to your side. He already lost an election. He lost an election to an objectively weaker candidate, Joe Biden, in 2020. Do you understand? He lost an election already to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was a carcass, far from like just a generic Democrat. He got shot and it didn't move the needle. You cannot, especially if you're Donald Trump, you can't just like keep trying to pump out the same old narratives that have literally failed in the midterms when it should have been a massive lock for you. GOP should have been running the table in the 2022 midterms. Literally, real negative wage growth, okay? Negative wage growth in the midst of an inflation crisis, in the midst of people actually feeling the heat. They still could not defeat Democrats in key states, in key districts. It's crazy. Why? Because they hyper-focused on culture war shit. And they're doing that again. And it's in terms of culture war shit, there's one issue that is not, that isn't just culture war, but there's one issue where their legislative agenda actually went through after this 35, 40-year project on abortion restrictions. That came down. People saw what it's like. People know what it's like when the Republicans get their wishes across in terms of some of these culture war issues. It's done. It's done after that. You're hemorrhaging your base of support. People hate you. People do not think you're good. People do not think you're competent. People don't want to pay attention to politics. And worst of all, Democrats did one thing that they normally always do. Democrats did something that they never have done before. They demonstrated basic, bare minimum competence. They did that. They were like, oh shit, our guy is dead. He's rotting. We can't carry him across the finish line. We should swap him out. Then they followed through and went with a candidate that was a vice presidential pick that would lock them in for a radical, supposedly radical, progressive policy platform. So unless Kamala comes out today or tomorrow, I think her campaign policies are gonna, like, the agenda is gonna come out soon. Unless she comes out and is just like the most dog shit, like centrist, soft pedal baby shit, hyper focus tested nonsense. Okay. Unless she does that, which would be a full reversal of like the Tim Walz decision, which I don't think they will do, and I hope they won't do that. Okay. Unless she does some shit like that, they can keep carrying this momentum forward. I think overall, the other side of this equation is that while Trump has certain key sectors on lock, like tech, maybe some defense contractors, hyper, ultra Zionist, whatever. Democrats have their own version of this as well, obviously, in terms of big donors. A lot of other industry leaders are also still worried about the instability in terms of like big ticket donors, like big money donors. A lot of industry leaders are also worried about what a second Trump term looks like in terms of the instability and the volatility. If you're just hyper focused on short-term benefits, maybe you're looking at it and going, the deregulation and the extra tax cuts will be good. But a lot of other key sector leaders probably look at this and go, Democrats are going to give us that too. And I'd rather have like maybe some regulation and stability rather than deregulation and complete instability that will defeat long-term benefits, long-term profits, that will destroy long-term profits because it will probably cripple America's standing. It will probably cripple the global economy. So like ultimately, those guys are making lesser evil choices from their own perspective. And I think that is the reason why the Democratic Party has more leeway to operate within this progressive space, to captivate a progressive audience, to show Americans that like, yeah, no, they can actually own these supposedly radical policies. Can you steel man a positive thing for a Trump second term? From whose perspective? Positive from like the average person's perspective, or positive from like industry? Because both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are always going to be beholden to their corporate donors. Okay. Like they will always be beholden to their corporate donors. They will always like move the needle marginally in one direction. But even if they get like one step, if the Democrats take like one tiny step in the direction of like populist economic agenda items that will be truly beneficial for the American population, they'll still take like 3 steps in the direction of corporate donors. Republicans, on the other hand, will take, 10 steps in the direction of corporate donors. And openly. Is he drinking piss? Yeah, dude. Arizona green tea, brother. Holy shit. This is, by the way, one big thing, America's crime reset. Omaha, 30% decrease. Miami, 20% decline. Philadelphia, a big fall in homicides with a 42% decrease. Which, by the way, that happened under the progressive reign of a supposed George Soros DA, by the way. What happened? I thought George Soros DAs were literally releasing convicts left and right. Every single was talking about this, including my goddamn uncle. What happened? Are they not releasing the criminals any longer? What happened? What the happened? It's crazy to me. No, not Sam Cedar, my biological uncle, Jay. What's responsible for the crime reset? There is no real legitimate increase of crime. That was all media narratives concocted. There is no real reset. Crime was always down. There was a big bump in the immediate aftermath of COVID on homicides. That's it. Everything else, oh shit. That's a massive earthquake. Yo! It's still going. Yo! Kaya, you are not even remotely interested. Come here. Come here. That was crazy. That was a big one, boys. That was crazy. There have been a lot of earthquakes that have happened. There have been a lot of earthquakes that have happened, but that was definitely a big boy. That was a big, or at least like the epicenter must have been close. Wait, it's only 5.2 in Bakersfield? I felt that shit. Last time it happened, or 4.7 in Bakersfield. Oh, it's south of Pasadena. Holy moly, that shit is close. That's why I felt it. It was right in LA. East Coast here, this is an indication of the big one's coming soon. That was the first time. That was the first time in a while where I was like, damn, that's a big one. Kaya, please. Please. Good girl. Did you get alerts on your phone? No. I'm in West LA, felt it, but it looks like it hit you harder. Yeah, no, it was crazy. I heard it. I think one of the scariest parts of the earthquake is that obviously shit starts shaking. That's it. But it's the noise. There's this like very weird noise that you hear that I find particularly scary. Like there's this presence. It's like there's like this nefarious, scary, ominous rumble. You go like, I don't know if you can hear it from my mic, but it's actually like I think one of the scarier parts of it. Everything else, oh shit, that's a massive earthquake. Yo, it's still going. Yo, Kaya, you are not even remotely interested. Come here. Massive Lamau. The wall shaking and the air moving in that frequency when the doors and windows are rattling. Yeah. The instinct to go full cam, you clip farmer. Sorry guys, I just sat down. I love that you checked the Zin Tower. What? I didn't check the Zin Tower. Yo! It's still going. Oh, I did. Oops. Yo! Kaya, you are not even remotely interested. Come here. Come here. That was crazy. 4.6 is actually not that big, but I think it's because I was very close to the epicenter this time that I felt it that much. I remember when that earthquake hit on the East Coast a couple months back, I was in bed and that shit felt good on my back. 4.6 is actually huge. Thank you very much. Nah, not for California. We get that shit on a daily basis. There was another one in Bakersfield that was 5.2. I didn't even feel that shit. I think that's the reason. Yeah, it's because it was like close to us. Keizo attacking you for not for telling everyone that he's not a real big boy. Yeah. 4.6 is massive. Wait, no. For California, 4.6 is not that big. Like, it happens. Dude, last week there was a 5.2 in Bakersfield, like a couple days ago. Oh, you guys are making penis jokes. Oh, I thought y'all, man, y'all are so dumb. Anyway, let's continue with what the fuck I was talking about. God damn it.
President Harris is doing better than President Biden with independents in some of those critical swing states. You've also got the money factor. The Harris camp has raked in tens of millions of dollars in a relatively short period of time. And then look ahead at what's happening a week from today. The Democratic National Convention begins in Chicago, and that is a week of primetime coverage for the Democrats. We're learning more about who some of the headliners will be. Two sources familiar with the planning tell us that former President Obama will speak, along with former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and President Biden will be one of the headliners as well, in what seems like a nod to his leadership after he withdrew from the 2024 race. In a new interview just recently, Savannah, his first since he decided to step off the 2024 ticket, he says he did so partly so as not to be a distraction for Dems.
Let's talk about the Trump campaign still adjusting, it seems, to this new race and this new candidate they're facing at the top of the ticket.
Yeah, there's a sense from senior advisors that this is a so-called Harris honeymoon that may not last all that long. They see the fundamentals of the race as still being fairly consistent here, and that is a real focus on two big issues, the issues that we've been talking about for months now that voters care about, the economy and immigration. On both of those issues, battleground polls show that former President Trump actually polls better than Vice President Harris on that. So there is a desire, I think, from those I've talked to in the Trump orbit for the former president to focus on that, to focus on policy. What we've seen from him, though, over the course of the last week, several weeks, if not longer, has been a focus on nearly anything but. He's been litigating this issue of crowd sizes, making false claims on that front, suggesting that President Biden may try to, with no evidence, reclaim the nomination at the DNC. There's nothing that would support that happening here. Of course, Vice President Harris is looking to combat on both of those issues, going on offense on both the economy and immigration. Savannah.
All right, Hallie, much to discuss. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz completed their first swing through battleground states, as new poll numbers show them pulling ahead in some of those key states, drawing false attacks.
Dude, the Beyonce release was so clutch. Like I can't, it's just, it goes way too hard. The Freedom song, it really does. Like Kamala Harris kind of low-key doesn't deserve that level of hype. You know what I mean?
From Donald Trump about the crowd size at their rallies. Rachel Scott is tracking the race from Washington. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, George, good morning to you. This is an entirely different campaign. 1 week out from the Democratic National Convention, and a new poll shows that Vice President Kamala Harris is gaining traction in those critical battleground states. All of that really not sitting well with former President Donald Trump, who has resorted to pushing conspiracy theories about the crowd size at her rallies and questioning her racial identity.
This morning, Vice President Kamala Harris gaining momentum in the race for the White House.
Another thing that I did not like, and I brought this up already, was like Kamala Harris doing the like classic Dem thing, I guess, but in a new format where she looked at like something that Trump had suggested that is like a pro-corporate policy and not a pro-worker policy that masquerades as a pro-worker policy, no tax on tips. And I think that ProPublica senior editor Jesse Eisinger is absolutely right on this, where he says no tax on tips policy is an ominous sign. Pandering matches half-baked, bald Trump pander. Regressive. Most tip workers don't pay income tax and get EITC. Unfair. Why should a bus driver pay taxes but not a waiter? Relieves pressure on corporations to raise wages. That is a key part of this that I have an issue with. Reasons is ominous. Suggests Harris doesn't have a serious economic policy circle that can respond to idiotic Trump blather. Suggests she doesn't have good enough political instincts / communication skills to explain why doing the thing that sounds good isn't actually good. I am a little fearful that she just blurted that out. I'll be honest. But it played in Nevada. Brother, what are you talking about? She's in front of the Culinary Union. You know the Culinary Union already has a policy in place that they are advocating for. It's called abolishing sub-minimum wage. That's it. You don't have one guy on your team in your immediate orbit that could have communicated that to you? The union workers there already have a policy that they are advocating for. It is the the abolition of sub-minimum wage. Americans on the consumer front hate the tipping culture, right? And there's a nefarious reason as to why tipping culture is bad for the workers as well. And a lot of people, I think, don't realize that. It is a very effective, I would say, cowardly way to make it seem like you are trying to make it seem as though you are trying to appear pro-worker while simultaneously not appearing pro-worker at all, or being pro-corporate. The biggest problem for service workers right now is the reality that they have to rely on the gratuitous nature of the customer in order to survive. And the way in which the tipping structure is designed in the United States of America allows corporations, allows restaurants to offer what is known as sub-minimum wage, because the tips make up for it, right? As in, you get paid sub-minimum wage at like $2.35 an hour, and then the rest of it is being made up with tips anyway. So your bosses, the restaurant, doesn't have to give you like an honest, livable wage. They don't have to offer you an honest, livable wage. It's crazy. Many tip workers like tips because they can get like $500 a night. Not all, but many. No, I understand that. I do. I get it. I know why it comes across as a popular policy. I know. Here's the statement by the Culinary Union Secretary Treasurer Ted Papa George regarding elimination of the sub-minimum wage and taxes on tips. The Culinary Union calls Nevada elected officials to support the federal ban on sub-minimum wages and taxes on tips. Nevada stands as a model where workers receive a fair minimum wage without relying on customer tips to cover wages. Currently, 34 states maintain minimum wages above the federal standard of $7.25, but tipped employees in many states can still earn as little as $2.13 per hour. According to BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, approximately 1.1 million workers in the United States can earn below the federal minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. In Massachusetts, the tip minimum wage is $6.75 an hour, while the state minimum wage is $15 an hour. A lot of you who have not worked on this, worked in the service sector, I think, are kind of oblivious to how unimaginably cruel the sub-minimum wage structure works. But it is, regardless of what people think in the short term, I think it's a very nefarious policy to design. The no tax on tips aspect of it is very nefarious policy making, in the sense that, like, it basically moves the blame away from those who are most responsible for people suffering, like most responsible for their workers not getting the honest wages that they deserve, livable wages that they deserve unconditionally. And changing the dynamic by basically beefing up tipping culture, which consumers across the board hate as well. But a lot of people don't think about that immediately, where they don't think about, like, oh, well, they have taken off taxes on tips. Like, most people don't think about it in the short term. They don't think about what kind of most people don't think about what kind of incentives you are creating here, and what that might look like down the line. Okay? No tax on tips proposal is a bad idea on the merits, but I don't mind pandering to win the election. Please don't pass this, Senate Dems, but this is an opportunity to pander with good policy. Take it. Rumors on economic Twitter is Harris' policy will include raising all forms of minimum wage, including the sub-wage. Several hope she does exactly what the Culinary Union wants from it, like she did for the taxes on tips. Yeah. Prices will go up, suggested tips will go down, it will get votes, but crap policy. Servers already don't claim our tips anyway, so what does this change? Can you elaborate? Can you please give us examples for us restaurant workers? I think what is beneficial for restaurant workers across the board isn't necessarily to cut taxes on tips, but instead to move to a model that makes it so that restaurants have to give you an actual wage, rather than having you rely on the magnanimous, gracious nature of the customer. Then you have the present brain on the other side. It's hugely expensive and economically distortionary, so much that I highly doubt it will ever become law, which also makes this promise less likely. No, I don't think this is peasant brain. I'll be honest with you. I think this is one of the only instances where Globe Twitter is right. One of the things that Americans are so warped on is like taxes for middle income Americans. Taxes for middle income Americans basically fund the entire government because there's so many people in that bracket. It's basically the entire nation that's in that bracket. So no, I am not anti-taxing the middle class. And obviously you can't say that in America if you're running. You certainly try to avoid talking about that at every point, but they're not wrong. It is actually, when he says it's hugely expensive and economically distortionary, what this person is saying is not entirely incorrect. What this person is talking about is funding the government. Like you're adding on, you're basically taking away like a massive chunk of taxable revenue from the government coffers. And I don't necessarily think that that's a good thing. I think that the way that the middle class is currently taxed is decent enough. But, you know, the way that we spend is completely out of whack. People should be able to get more social safety nets for the taxes that they're paying currently. And then there are obviously plenty of areas where people are not taxed at all, especially if or not taxed appropriately, especially if your entire net worth is in the stock market or on assets that are taxed at a lesser percentage than the regular straight income tax brackets work. And most of the super wealthy operate on that boundary. That's why we have people like you. You can afford to tip 100% each time. I know, but nobody does that shit. And you cannot rely on, like, I've always been the type of person who says, like, you're never going to extract concessions by being nice, okay? You can't just expect people to be nice to you. You have to forcibly change the rules and the laws, okay? It is a foolhardy endeavor to rely on the magnanimous nature of the wealthy. If they were magnanimous to begin with, we wouldn't have such severe income inequality. We would not have billionaires, okay? They clearly are not. I don't think it's like appropriate to design an economy on having the entirety of the service sector be over reliant on people being gracious and basically seeing the working poor at the whims of their mercy and maxing out, like basically creating a GoFundMe-like structure for every interaction in the service economy is insane to me. And that is basically what we're doing with moves like this. Like, give people consistent, honest income that they deserve, a livable wage. You are talking like the pubs have empathy, Lamau. No, I'm saying that nobody has empathy. Everyone is very selfish, which is why you have to design a structure that leads to more egalitarian outcomes, because no one is going to do that. Also, the Culinary Union saying that they want no taxes on tips is one thing. The Culinary Union leadership and many union leadership can oftentimes push for policy that is not inherently good, that is not ultimately a good policy, okay? This is something that you learn with, throughout your time dealing with unions in general. If you remember, sometimes there's also a mismatch in what a union communicates and what the desires of the rank and file are. Culinary Union is a great example of this. But this is one of those issues where the rank and file probably also, in short-term thinking, assume that this is a good idea. Technically not a good idea. It's one of those things that it is populist to say no taxes on tips, okay? But if you're looking at it with the lens of, being an adult about it, it's not necessarily a solid idea at all. If you're gonna use the populist aspect of this, you have to also, at the very least, tie it to an increase in sub-minimum wage. Does that make sense? So do nothing. Did I ever say so do nothing? I actually told you what to do instead. Why don't they go further and ban or increase sub-minimum wage? No, that's what I'm saying. They should. If they want to keep that, if they, let's say, want to keep that sub-minimum wage part of the equation afloat, they tack it on with like this populist policy. Are you arguing that relying on tips to support the service sector is unsustainable and unfair, effectively turning every transaction into a form of charity? Yes, that is precisely what I said. That's literally what I said. Wouldn't it be more to ensure workers receive a stable, livable wage instead of depending on the generosity of others? Yes, you understood exactly what I was saying. Are you suggesting that the tax burden on middle-income Americans is disproportionately high and that their contributions are essentially funding the entire nation? That is also what I said. Holy shit, this guy's awesome. Thank you for summarizing my points. The reason why sub-minimum wage is devastating is because there's plenty of people who are also broke. And when they're broke, they also are, for a multitude of different reasons, refusing to pay tips, okay? So then the person in front of you is suffering as a consequence of that. They just served you for like an hour and they got nothing in return, and now they made $2 in that process. Like, that's insane. Relying on customers to keep the business afloat, to keep the lives of these servers sustainable is craziness. And I think there's also a pretty solid counter to it, which is that everybody, including servers themselves, when they are customers, don't like the 25%, don't like seeing 25% at the checkout line. You know what I mean? People are like, what the Anyway, let's continue.
Wrapping up her first major campaign blitz with her new running mate, Governor Tim Walz.
You are battle-born. And if Donald Trump wants to pick a fight over our most fundamental freedoms, we say, bring it on.
A New York Times Siena poll shows Harris has a 4-point edge on Donald Trump in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, within the margin of error. And enthusiasm for the Democratic ticket has skyrocketed since President Biden dropped out of the race. Walz addressing a crowd of 15,000 in Phoenix, making this dig at Trump.
But Arizona just couldn't leave it alone, could you? It's not as if anybody cares about crowd sizes or anything.
Trump has long boasted about the size of his rallies, just days ago claiming nobody has spoken to crowds bigger than me. And now the former president pushing conspiracy theories on social media that Harris used artificial intelligence, or AI, to create images of fake crowds, falsely claiming there was nobody there. David Plouffe, a senior advisor for the...
This part is so funny. I think this is a major L for the Trump camp. Like, this is a risk, okay? You are assuming a risk. And the risk is, are there enough people in the margins, not in your base, but in the margins, that will actually get brain diseased by this kind of rhetoric and believe it, okay? Every step that the Trump administration takes going forward is supposed to be moving the needle in the opposite direction. They've already maxed out on name recognition. Most people have already decided. They've made up their minds about Trump. They had also made up their minds about Biden as well. But now with the Kamala Harris-Walz ticket, that's an entirely different ticket. So they stand to gain a lot from people in the margins. Trump, on the other hand, is completely maxed out. He already was the president. He was a telegenic figure. On top of that, people already have these opinions. They've already calcified their positions, right? So every step they take, they are gambling. Okay? Every step they take, they're like, will this move the needle with moderates that are Republican leaning? Will we be able to bring these moderates back to our side? Now, before you say they are believing that it's AI, you are wrong. The people that look at that crowd and go, oh, that's AI, are already Trump supporters. I'm sorry, man. You're out of your mind, okay? You're not thinking about, like, old people that are not spending all their goddamn time on Twitter. You're spending all your goddamn time on Twitter. You're spending all your goddamn time on Twitch. So you think a lot of the Republican Party's base of support, or those in the margins, like the more moderate, the more independent voters and whatnot, are also spending every waking moment on Twitter. Okay? the average American with a job or a business that they own is not as brain broken as like Joey Manorino or whatever. They're not as brain broken as the End Wokeness account. Okay? They're gonna look at this and go, what the fuck is this guy saying? Okay? And a lot of you probably have relatives that are perma online too. So you think like, oh no, every person is like this. My blue collar Republican boss doesn't think Trump will win because he's too controversial. That one incident may not move the needle, but isn't there a collective impact on the constant barrage of misinformation? Yes, but a lot of people still pay attention to the news, okay? As it stands currently, especially in the demographics that actually go out and vote, you have the entirety of the Republican constituency locked in on Fox News. They're doing the brain broken shit on Fox News. But you have the rest of the country that also looks at a variety of different news outlets, from local news all the way to ABC, NBC, CNN, and the like, NPR, New York Times. And those people see this shit and they go, what the fuck is Trump doing? Do you understand? It's also one of those things that is like immediately disproven with your own two eyes. It's one of the worst things that you can lie about, okay? One of the worst things that you can lie about is something that you can disprove. If you were to run around and be like, Trump is super sexy, actually, right? If you were to run around and be like, you don't understand, I love Donald Trump because he's hot. I love Donald Trump because he's an incredibly fit man. He's incredibly physically fit. He's very dynamic. Like, if you say that, people can just look at that and go, what the fuck are you saying? Guys, stop memeing for a second, okay? Please stop memeing, please. I know I like to say Trump is hot, but like, ultimately you have to remember, like, things that are immediately disprovable will not work well with a group of people that you are trying to bring to your side that aren't already completely locked in, okay? It will look like the conversation that I had yesterday with that one hater from Ohio. The dude who was like, I'm double your size, pussy. You are a pussy, you're soy, you're weak. I can beat your ass if I wanted to. And then we pulled up his photo and it demonstrably was not the case. It was like hilarious that he was even like presenting this as an argument. Okay? Some of you guys might have missed that part, but he was just like falling apart and still running on this delusion. Anyway.
Harris campaign writing, these are not conspiratorial rantings from the deepest recesses of the internet, adding the author could have nuclear codes and be responsible for decisions that will affect us all for decades. Trump has been struggling to pivot to a new Democratic ticket, doing everything from questioning Harris's racial identity to mocking her intelligence and lashing out at new polling.
Kamala is grossly incompetent and, in my opinion, has a very low IQ.
He's now taking her on her pledge to make tips tax-free, something he has promised for months, calling it a Trump idea. The former president also putting immigration at the center of his campaign, vowing the largest deportation effort in American history. Our John Carl pressing his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, for specifics.
I think it's interesting that people focus on, well, how do you deport 18 million people? Let's start.
Boogie 2988.
This is media is actually like media is
decades. Trump has been struggling to pivot to a new Democratic ticket, doing everything from questioning Harris's racial identity to mocking her intelligence and lashing out at new polling.
Kamala is grossly incompetent and, in my opinion, has a very low IQ.
He's now taking her on her pledge to make tips tax-free, something he has promised for months, calling it a Trump idea. The former president also putting immigration at the center of his campaign, vowing the largest deportation effort in American history. Our John Carl pressing his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, for specifics.
I think it's interesting that people focus on, well, how do you deport 18 million people? Let's start with 1 million. That's where Kamala Harris has failed, and then we can go from there.
This also is a way, finally the media is actually like offering a little bit of context to this argument and not letting shit slide on this front, which is crazy. Where the fuck was the media for the past like 8 months? It's like, Where the were you guys? Like, what? I can't believe that finally the media is asking this question. Like, I've been saying this. I have been saying this for literally months. Someone should ask a Republican what mass deportations looks like. They should get them on the record being like, I'm fine with a couple million people getting forcibly deported from their homes. Okay? It's shocking to me that now they're saying, only now, they're finally being held to account for this goddamn position. It has gone on for far too long. The fact that people have not been asking this question for months at this point, and it's gone untested, uncountered as a narrative, that is the reason why it has led to 60+% support. Okay, mass deportation. It's ridiculous. J.D. Vance did say that, though, in the interview you covered. These people are gross. Yes, these people are gross. And let me tell you, many people in the MAGA cult are definitely on board with this. But you have to remember, those aren't the only people in this country, okay? We're talking about like 30% of the... We're talking about the 30% of eligible voter population. There's 70% of the eligible voter population that's not on board with all of these narratives and might actually think that these narratives are insane. These ideas are Hitlerian, because they are. They are Hitlerian. But they'll never come to that conclusion if someone doesn't turn around and go, hold on, did you just say you want to deport 20 million people from this country? How the are you going to do that? How the fuck are you going to do that? Okay. POTUS account calling for a ceasefire again. Yeah, bro, that doesn't mean shit, okay? You have the power. Do it. You can get 30% of Americans to agree on anything. Exactly. Anything. 30% of Americans can agree that there's no top of the hour ad break, okay? At the top of the hour at the Hassan Abi broadcast. But there is one. There is. It's crazy how the majority of illegal immigrants pay taxes. Yeah, of course they do. The reason why, however, 30% of Americans are delusional about the fact that there is no top of the hour ad break is because they are subscribed. They're subscribed to the Hassan Abi broadcast at the top of the hour, and therefore they don't see it. If you want to be a part of that 30%, all you need to do is subscribe as well for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Rob his coffee. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 gifted subs. Anyway. Don't 50% of Republicans support bombing Agrabah? What? Only 8% of Americans believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows, though. Okay, there are some things that are, I guess, too insane for even the 30%. I've said before, you can get the classic Hassan Abi quote is you can get 20 to 30% of Americans to believe anything. You see how pathetic Barack Ravid is? Bro, we said it, we saw it in real time. We saw this in real time. Agrabah is a city in Aladdin. Point is they support bombing in places that doesn't even exist. Yeah. I got it, chat. I got it. I understood the meme. Okay, let's continue.
And in another twist this weekend, the Trump campaign claimed that it had been hacked by Iran. It pointed to a report from Microsoft that said that the Iranian hackers sent a phishing email to a top campaign official. Microsoft did not specify which campaign that was, and the Trump campaign has not provided any further details, George.
Yeah, we've seen foreign interference in our elections going back to 2016 at least. Rachel Scott, thanks very much.
How they were treated there on the way. All right, let's go to Vitaly. Let's go straight to Vitaly. So Vitaly had his final week, and rest in peace to the GOAT. Although he's coming back this weekend, is that right?
Yeah.
Friday he's back and he's in Miami, which, as I understand it, that's where Fresh and Fit lives. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them show up. Oh my God. fucking one of the people that showed up had a Hassan hoodie on. Did you guys see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. I was watching it and I immediately was like, yo, that's Hassan's merch.
Yep.
It's here to do this because their life is ruined.
That does.
Yeah.
Everybody's.
Well, and also,
Sound argument.
They're doing this all in Burbank, right?
No, they move all around the city. It wasn't all in Burbank.
This was in Santa Monica.
Oh, it was in Santa Monica. Santa Monica have its own PD? Or are they sheriff's department?
Do, I believe.
They're Santa?
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Yes.
Santa Monica.
Anyway.
The reason I asked is because there's like arrest records, so you could easily like verify if these people actually.
This is a real person, trust me.
Yeah. I mean, no, I mean, I'm not skeptical, but I'm just saying you could verify it.
I'm not skeptical of anything. I have no questions whatsoever.
No, this shit's real. And Love, you're the skeptic.
Yeah, my only thought was I didn't think it was fake initially, but if anything, if they had a vendetta against Hassan, which it doesn't seem like they do, they would have given him the hoodie, say, wear this. But no, I don't think that. But that would have been more likely, I feel like.
And my comment was in reference to wanting to get to the video, not into speculating that a Hassan fan would be a pedo. Just
It's not speculation. It's straight up fucking. That's just a matter of fact at this point.
To be
He has
fair,
a big audience.
he could have picked it up at a local Goodwill or something.
Surely it must have been a Goodwill pickup.
He bought that shit.
Maybe it'll be explained in the edit. Let's just
He
jump right into it.
absolutely purchased that fucking wholesale, bitch, full MSRP. Anyway, pretty funny.
Listen, you do not want to go. You don't want the bad karma. You don't want somebody in Teddy Fresh showing up on one of these videos.
Well, we had a pretty funny. I mean, listen, there's a lot of people wearing Teddy Fresh. Is one of them a pedophile? Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, almost.
No, not
almost
probably.
certainly. I mean, it's almost a guaranteed.
0% chance.
You know,
nobody who wears Teddy Fresh.
There's nothing
would ever
about
do
Teddy
such a
Fresh, the
thing.
brand, that is like encouraging people to be pedos. So it's kind of out of my control, but you know what I mean?
Nope.
Interesting that he's a socialist. That seems more libertarian in values. The whole wanting to fuck kids thing, but anyway, shout out Hassan. Nice, an unexpected crossover. Let's go ahead and watch this clip. Thank you, AB, for putting this together.
My pleasure.
How you feeling? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. You guys may need me to explain some stuff, and my Uber is scheduled for...
Why you schedule the Uber?
Because it's cheaper if I scheduled it.
Oh, it is? Wait, you get a discount if you schedule?
Yeah. Certain times are cheaper.
How much is the discount?
$20.
I'll cover that.
Wait, $20 cheaper? That is
a lot. That is actually a lot.
What?
AB, you're getting your stuff.
Click the edit, please.
Is it an Uber
You're
X?
giving out too much interesting information, brother.
Is it an Uber X?
Yeah. Just pretend you can't hear me.
Is it a
every other
carpool?
time, and let's just jump right in.
All right.
$20.
That's a lot.
That's like a lunch.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing that every day, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's incredible savings.
Hey, we just ready to speak with you? No. We just want to speak with you. The cops are waiting for you there.
We came here to circumcise you. Let us circumcise you.
Yo, come here.
Bobby, wait.
Yo.
This lawyer is so fucking cringe, bro.
I hate him, man. That suit is so bad, bro. You can't be
guy in the red
seriously
suit is
showing
the
up in a
lawyer?
cherry red suit, my dude.
Jay Oma.
He sucks.
He's really just...
You could learn a lot from PMP.
Well, he's clearly influenced by the greatest that ever did it.
Yes. Copycat.
David would have been so funny on this shit. He's actually a real lawyer, though. He's out there like getting cheddar cheese.
Let's go.
He's actually doing really well. It's kind of nuts. Proud of him.
Yo, what are you doing, brother?
Don't leave. I think I've seen Yeah, you stripped my sword.
See, this is crazy. They're not supposed to impede their movement or you really even touch them, because at the end of the day, at this point, they're all accusations. They say they have a bunch of evidence. But even if he is a proven pedo, it doesn't mean you can fucking physically assault somebody. Yeah, that's for the police to handle.
I'm sorry. This is a prime example of him getting frustrated. Again.
Yeah, because the show sucks and they're terrible at it.
So it's funny because when you first watch this, you think that the security is there to protect Vitaly and the crew, but it's the opposite. It's to protect the pedophile from Vitaly.
100%. And it's a great thing for him that they're there. Because I think he would have been arrested like after the first episode. You know?
Please. We need to talk.
Oh, dude, you can't do that. Wait, hold on, bro. I haven't seen this one. That's a straight up crime.
Yeah.
That is absolutely a crime. Live.
Dude.
Only just. What'd you come here for?
To just talk. To talk about what? No, just want to see who he is. Okay. And that's it.
But why are you asking a young guy if he's not a virgin?
Yo, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna let you go.
At this moment, I have more proof of crime on Vitaly's part than pedo.
Maybe he says in this.
He will.
Can we just talk to you for a second? We have a real cow. It's a game show. I don't even know why you're here. We have a game show. We have a real cow. I just drink it. All we're gonna do is milk the tea with the milk.
Oh, is this the guy they squirt with the cow?
Yeah. And you're good to go.
I didn't see
Not
it.
that hard. Or the police. It's easy for you to decide.
Will not be harmed at all.
Nothing's gonna happen.
I don't know. I was just harmed. Nope.
You were just frustrated.
He tripped and I fell on top of him and I pulled him off. He himself.
Allegedly you were harmed, but you're
sorry.
We want to talk to you. I apologize that I tripped over and I grabbed you. But
By the way, if there's any pedos watching, listen, this is what you do. You say, am I being detained? They have to say no. And then you say, well, then get the fuck out of my way. And then they have to let you go. Otherwise, you can sue them
It's a little
into
tip
oblivion.
for the pedos out there.
Yeah, it's important that everybody understands the law and how to protect themselves, especially pedophiles, because they're going to need it more than anybody, frankly. Just doing my job as a pedophile advocate. I'm leaning into it, obviously.
That was a nice cap on that,
I leaned into it. I leaned a little too hard. I leaned too hard.
We're definitely going to see people in Better Fresh now.
I leaned too hard. I apologize. Let me lean back a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
No advice for the pedos.
This is why Dan shouldn't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
We can be over here and talk, so it's not so. I got you. I have the sword.
This motherfucker has a sword? That's so threatening.
God, he's so stupid. I swear to God, there's so many points where like the pedo's about to sign like the NDA, or I'm sorry, like the whatever, the form that they can't sue, and then he interrupts and he keeps making shitty jokes like right here where the guy already wants to leave. He's like, I got a sword, or let me circumcise you. And Vitaly always tells him, shut up.
Well, it's a crime. The threat of violence is a crime.
Yeah.
And this guy's supposed to be a fucking lawyer?
Dude.
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
With his ASOS suit.
He's, I think, a criminal defense attorney.
That dude is red, icy. He's got icy red suit on right there. Why?
As a sword of honor.
It's a plastic sword. We have evidence. Just here, talk to us for a second.
He's over here. Everyone clear out. Clear out. Clear out.
What's the background, by the way? Who's he meeting? Do you remember? Was it like? He looks pretty old though.
Yeah, I think it was a boy. It was a
15-year-old boy, I believe.
That's bad. Yeah, that's bad.
Patient for him. Clear out. Clear out. Clear out. Right here.
Brother, you said this was a show?
Yeah, we're not gonna upload this.
What is the show?
The show? We catch people that are trying to meet underage boys.
Oh, the cow just took a massive shit.
You blurred the cow taking a shit?
Just to be safe.
I don't think that's a problem. It's an animal.
I'm not risking that. I'm not risking that shit.
All right. Well, anyway, we don't need to see the cow
You guys
taking a
are
shit.
that curious?
I don't need to see the cow taking a shit.
Send it right now.
I can't get over like when I'm watching Bachelor and they blur the horse cock.
I feel like that's different than a cow taking a shit. Like a horse cock, and that thing's dangling like.
That's insane, bro. What are they saying? That the people watching want to fuck that horse?
Well, we've heard stories of people.
What?
After some incidents this year.
It's an animal. It's an animal. Holy shit.
Some people who aren't fans of the Vitaly stuff, let me just say, this is a moment in history, not sound like Logan Paul, but it's like this is gonna hit the fan, and I feel like these are all gonna be wiped from the internet, and it's a wild thing to be watching live as it's happening. It's not that we condone or anything.
Bro, we're clearly, obviously.
I was at the aquarium over the weekend, and I had a thought. I had an experience that was like, this is exactly like watching Vitaly streams, and there was a bird exhibit, and all of the like birds were all contained, and then there were pigeons, and there was this kid kicking the pigeons, and like, we don't want the pigeons to be here, but I don't want to watch this kid kick the pigeons. Do you know what I mean? That's what Vitaly streams are like.
So Olivia tripped and choked him out.
Yeah,
Somebody's got to
absolutely.
do something about the pigeons.
Yeah, I got the vegetable.
Just don't see. I don't want to see, and I don't want to know.
Right.
Kick those pigeons, kid. You're doing God's work.
It's like the pigeons shouldn't be there and it shouldn't be happening, but maybe we shouldn't be kicking them at the same time.
It's okay, it's just shit.
Protect me from the shit,
Guys,
bro.
it's not fucking cow poop, it's fine. You guys never seen cow poop? Oh, no.
Dude!
Okay.
My red
Let me make the switch.
I'm 50.
Oh my God, he's so annoying. My ribs.
Yeah.
Now, how old
He
are you?
tries to get in every shot, and there's a few points you'll see in this edit where he has to be up Vitaly's ass every single shot.
I don't know why they keep inviting him back. He clearly has nothing value to add. Time and time again. I've never seen one good moment from him.
3-5. Oh, okay, a little close. How is losing it? It's a pedophilia. Minimum 7 to 10 years in the state of California.
So with that then, you have this footage. Can I get one evidence deleted before?
One evidence deleted?
Yeah. You've got.
Yeah, sure. What's the evidence?
So let's delete the.
Which one? We're not going to post this, so good.
So delete.
Which one?
Oh, delete the whole text.
You want me to delete the whole text?
Yes, the whole text.
Okay, I will do it after you finish with our bit.
That's so shady. He's like, please delete that. It's like, wow, buddy. Not even denying it.
Well, how do I know I'm not going to delete it? And then you're going to. We're going to delete it.
Do you want to? I'm telling you, just it's fine.
Delete it, yeah.
It'll help. That cow took a big dump. Almost got my fucking red suit destroyed.
This bro is so cooked. He's literally sitting there telling him to erase it on live stream.
I'm texting my mom. My mom is on the show. Yo,
Wait, what was that? What happened?
My mom. My mom is on the show.
He tried to Nathan for you.
Yeah, he snatches it back.
When Vitaly's about to lose it, he does this thing where he bites his tongue. He does it right here.
Oh, for real? Was he actually trying to snatch his phone?
Why was he doing it? He like wanted to see it.
My mom. My mom is on the show.
Yeah, I see him biting. Oh God, he is so on drugs.
Knock the fuck out right now. Not right. You want me to call the cops? I'm not. I'm giving you chances. Cooperate with us. You know you're fucking guilty. This is the least I can do.
Okay.
You assaulted me. You'll be fucking away for years, or you just fucking do this and go home. The more you talk, the longer you stay here.
I can't believe it.
I'm gonna talk to you differently now. Hold my phone. Go ahead. Lay down under the cow. Go ahead. I run.
Come on, Bobby. Or should I call you Professor W? Professor W?
So cruel and unusual punishment, is that specifically about the government?
In the Constitution? Yeah, that's a government.
So Vitaly is clear.
Yeah, you can cruelly and unusually punish people.
Okay, as long as it's not government state.
Right, it's not government saying.
Carry on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Let's go. Let's go. Lay down. Guys, I don't need anybody.
Mega Man, Professor Wiley.
Oh my God.
Go ahead. Come closer. Come above.
Are they doing that?
Come above.
Wow, I gotta say, it's impressive. Vitaly has some pretty good method. Like, as I understand it, it's not easy to do that without experience.
Did he practice?
Yeah, he had a little practice in it.
Dude, this is fucking in.
The music makes it.
Open your mouth.
Yeah, Vitaly's playing that on his phone.
It looked like the cow took a kick at Vitaly.
Open your
Yeah,
mouth.
Jesus. This seems dangerous.
Good boy.
Look what they're doing to the cows, bro.
Good boy.
Oh my God.
This is fucking disgusting and vile.
You're telling me they're serving this
Here's
to
the thing,
us
like
at the grocery
this guy's
store?
obviously, this guy's obviously a predator. Seems to me, and certainly is deserving of any punishment. But like at the same time, what's so weird is that like Vitaly is not the arbiter of morality. And a lot of these people he's bringing on, celebrities, have like their own questionable past. And frankly, probably could have ended up in their own Vitaly video on the other side of the camera. But do we feel bad?
That's one of the things about this. It's like, somehow, for a second, you're like, fuck, I feel bad for this pedophile. And you're like, no, he's a fucking pedophile. And it's just this moral conundrum that you're going back and forth with.
It's like, I think it's all bad.
Yeah.
I think it's just all bad. There's just nothing good about this. It's just pure debauchery, nothing redeeming. I mean, it is good that they're humiliating and calling out these pedos, and potentially even icing out the other predators who are probably seeing this and being like, I'm taking a break.
Bro, can you believe it? This is the milk that we're drinking.
No, man.
Okay, we're done with that.
All right, you will delete everything?
I mean, that proves it right there. He knows he's guilty.
Yeah.
So that's feels better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. We didn't delete the evidence.
Wait,